Back when Jezitech was a force to be reckoned with in 2018-2019, they made this little gem, the Boyu Likebook Aries. But that has since come and gone, and Boyu has moved on to playing more of an administrative role in the e-reader operations for the newcomer MeBook. Since 2019, Boyu started to make their own devices, the P line, like the P6, the P78, and the P10 and P10W. But this left people wanting some of the older devices that have basically just been abandoned. The Mars, the Elita, the Mimas, and of course the Aries. Well, good news. These are basically all back, this time by a Taiwanese company called Hyread. Hyread is a full-line manufacturer that has 6 devices in their lineup, including a color release. They haven't been around too long, but what they have been doing is continuing the legacy that Boyu left behind when they went over to the different manufacturer, Howking. And one of those legacy devices is in front of you today. This is the Hyread Gaze Note Plus 7.8-inch eNote, aka the Boyu Likebook Aries body. And because it's the same body as the Aries, it warrants a look at the chalkboard so we can get a side-by-side. The Gaze will be on the left and the Aries on the right. They both feature an e-ink Carta 7.8-inch display with a resolution of 1872 by 1404 at 300 ppi. They both have glow lights and they both have a Wacom eNote layer. The Aries has 2 gigs of RAM, whereas the Hyread gets 3 gigs of RAM. The processor has also been upgraded from a 1.5 to a 1.8. We can't blame this one on Boyu, but they capped out at Android 6.0 at the time of release, whereas the Gaze is running the latest possible version of Android on ePaper, which is Android 11. Bluetooth has also been upgraded from 4.1 to 4.2. However, all of this comes at a little bit of a weight increase from 268 grams to 277. Now, the advantages to white labeling a device, especially an older shell, is that the shells are already developed and you can change the internals, so that's why certain things have been increased, like the RAM. Now, another thing advantageous about going with the last generation stuff, the Aries, the Elita, etc., and not the P line, the P6, the P10, the P78, is because you can now use Wacom pens. You can use anything. You can use the iReader pen, you can use the BIGME Goody Reader A5 pen, or you can use the one that gets included with the device itself, which is the Hyread Gaze triangular pencil. Now, this is really cool because it does have a little lapel clip. It does say Hyread Gaze on it. It uses a little bit of a dated tip. It's a plastic tip and it is kind of round. It's not conical like an air tip, and it's not a standard Wacom tip or like a felt blend graphite composite. It really is just kind of a plastic tip. Not totally recommended. The device itself is fantastic and it is running Wacom, so what I would recommend is maybe buying a separate pen like an iFlyTech or a iReader X Pen or a Lamy or something like that that just gives you a little bit of a better writing feel and not let the actual device itself go to waste. On the home screen, you'll have 4 tabs: Bookstore, My Books, Note, and More. More is where you're going to find your apps. No, this does not have Google Play on it, and if you do root the device and put Google Play on it, that is totally something you can do, but something that is not out of the box, so we won't show it. You do have browser, calculator, calendar, all that fun stuff, and you have Files or File Manager. File Manager just goes through the device's storage itself. It shows you how much gigs you have. Out of the 32, you only have 22, and you really only have 21.98. Every time you load anything into the device itself, it gets organized for you. So if you load in a PDF, an EPUB, and some pictures, it's going to put them into the respective places. So you can see if we go to PDF here, you'll have a single PDF right there. If we go back and we go to EPUB, it'll be the EPUB file that we put down there. And if you go to picture, it's going to have all the photos and everything you've put there. So it is very nice that the overall simplistic nature of the operating system itself is in place so that it's not very difficult for you to understand. demand. The bookstore is robust, but it's mostly Taiwanese titles written in Taiwanese or Mandarin or Chinese, depending on the actual dialect or the way that it's written on the respective file. But this is a unit that is able to read a very wide array of formats, so you can go ahead and just sideload everything in. So this is an e-book reader, kind of. We call them e-readers, but they're technically not. We have seen in the past, say 3 years, devices more market themselves as tablets rather than e-readers. They're basically Android tablets. They're basically Android tablets with e-paper display screens. So even though it is an ebook and you can turn pages and long press and do all that fun stuff, what you can do, and you have all the stuff down below, you have your highlights, your search in book, your Wikipedia search, etc. You can take notes if you use any of the Wacom capabilities like so. So you can take all your nice notes right there. The eraser works as well. This is a instant erase, so it's not an area erase or anything, although you can change it by clicking the eraser down below. You do have some palette customization here on the ebooks. More of that will be in the note-taking experience, but you can change between fountain pen and pencil, and you can get all the levels of pressure sensitivity and all that fun stuff. You do have the ability to change all of your text as well. You can go over here to the little A button. Now they do give you some settings here, just a couple, maybe 4 or 5 depending, and you can go to the little 3 dots and change to a very, very customizable bar in which you actually get 140 plus points of customization. You can take notes right away on the unit on PDFs. There's no problem whatsoever. You get the palette at the bottom, you still get the eraser, and you get the full PDF experience. If you don't have a pen or your pen is gone, you can still use your fingertips to do pinch and zooms and all that great customizable functionality that all devices should have nowadays. There's really no excuse to not have these fundamental ways to change your PDF. You do have some orientation in terms of the contrast. You can make it lighter or darker, or you can actually change via the 3 dots and choose the gray levels, the brightness levels, a whole bunch of stuff. They really do leave it up to you to change this the way you want. You can remove watermarks. You can do a 2-page double page spread. By clicking this, you're able to split it in half and read it more like a book. However, unfortunately, with a 7.8-inch screen, you don't get a whole lot of screen real estate. When you look at Hyread's online material, like their website, their Line account, etc., they really show off that this device is capable of doing manga, so much so that it's in a lot of their advertisement and whatnot. So naturally, you would think it trickles down into the device. Well, you would be right, because it's the perfect size for manga. This is an amazing size for manga, and it is very true to actual 7 to 8-inch real Japanese manga. Now, it's not going to be the same as those gigantic graphic novels you get at comic book stores in North America, but this is actually true to form. In fact, you don't even need to pinch and zoom because the screen size is just on point. Now for the fun stuff, note-taking. You do have only 2 pens, but you do have pressure sensitivity and all that stuff, fountain and ballpoint, which can be found down below here. You can choose them, and you can choose the line thicknesses to get ready, which also shows the color. Color can be found on the next page, which I already prepared. Black, red, blue, green, and white. They're obviously just going to be different gray scales, but when you export it, it will be in the respective colors that I have written out here, and these will be as well. So when you go here, you'll notice what they look like, and this is good for grading papers and all that kind of fun stuff. You can also make shapes. All you have to do is press the plus, press shape, choose your shape, and draw it on the screen. There it is. There's your triangle. You can put it anywhere you want. I'll put it in front of triangle, and I made it too big. From here, you can actually change the shape, the overall orientation, the aspect ratio. You can stamp it, you can rotate it, and you can delete it altogether. So they do give you a lot of options when it comes to insertions and stuff like that. Let's switch pens just for kicks. If I wanted to save this, what I would do is click on the selector tool. I can go like this. I can grab it. I can circle it in its entirety, copy it, go to a new page, and paste it, so I can now make live edits to this blueprint, change what I want to change, and the one I just moved over is completely intact and safe. Switching pens once more, just for fun, you have a lot of different things here. You can do paper switch, in which case you get 3 pages of backgrounds, weekly planners, calendars, even stickers with little guys on there that you can color in. So there's definitely a lot of background templates. You can also go here, delete the page, or share and export. When you do so, you can choose however many pages you want to share and export. You can click share, and it's going to show up all the apps that are on your device. So if you downloaded Gmail, if you downloaded all these things on there, you're able to share via those apps that you've downloaded from the App Store. I must say, I'm not really a fan of the way they do this. When you first click the glow light option, you just get a bunch of things that say off, day, night, bed, and then customize. The bar isn't there right away. I would have liked to see the bar there from the very beginning because it definitely does change things. As you can see for the camera, we're not in a completely dark room, but the glow light still shines through, all pun intended. You do have warm lighting as well, so you can make this super orange candle light, or you can make it very, very blue, which is why I don't see why you would ever do that. It's good to balance them, and that's why almost every manufacturer across the board gives you a warm light option, and that's to counteract the blue and get a better balance. Hyread has only been around for a couple of years, and therefore doesn't have that much of a brand identity yet. And until that day, people are always going to draw conclusions and comparisons between devices it's built off of and comparable units. We hope to change that by allowing people to focus more on what Hyread is as a standalone company, and not for what BoYu used to be. For GoodyReader.com, this is Peter.